You are Locked On MLB Crossover, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
And as it turns out right now, two of your teams. That's right. What is up, baseball fans? Welcome to Locked On Marlins. Welcome to Locked On Dodgers. My name is Jim Greasehaber. Call me Grease. We got the man, Pete Fox, out in LA. He's sly like a fox. Look at him smiling. I mean, you win 14 out of 16, 6-0 on the homestand. And every single day, Pete, you get to talk about one of, if not the best team in Major League Baseball, while I talk about the 10-28 Marlins. But before we go down that path, I want to thank everybody watching right now for making Locked On Marlins, Locked On Dodgers, and the Postcast your first visit and your first form of content that you ingest every day. We're free. We're available wherever you get your podcast and on YouTube, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. And today's show brought to you by eBay Motors. Pete, from brakes to exhaust kits and beyond, eBay Motors has over 122 million parts to keep your ride or die alive with all the parts you need at the prices you want. It's easy to bring home that big win, just like the Dodgers always do. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Yes, I'm jealous. You'll hear it a lot in the show. Exclusions apply, but I'm not jealous because I use eBay Motors. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers, Pete, and we're happy and proud you're an eBay Motors customer as well.
I am.
I'm going to be a little bit salty today, man, just a little bit, because I got to let you have it a little bit because of the two teams we have to cover day in and day out. But you know what stands out to me? 6-0 on the homestand for the Dodgers, right? Mookie Betts and Shohei went 1 for 13, and it was a bloop single from Mookie, a bleeder that got through. That in the last two games of the series, they didn't even miss them. Teoscar Hernandez and Freddie Freeman with the big day today. And even without those two centerpieces and MVP candidates producing anything offensively, the Dodgers just keep cruising.
Yeah, you know, it's interesting. It's the first time we haven't seen anything from Shohei Ohtani in a while. I mean, an 0 for day. But one of the things I've noticed with the Dodgers of late, and this is something that's a trend right now that's going on with the team that I'm seeing, and I don't know that it's a bad thing per se because it's based on results. And I'm noticing that when they have already won the series, they've taken the first two games in a 3-game set. That third game, generally a getaway day for one of the two teams, obviously. It's usually earlier. They had the B thing in Arizona, which was also a delayed or a different start time. Anytime that kind of abnormal start time happens for the Dodgers, they play differently without the same sort of intensity and aggression. That, especially when you have this third game, getaway day, early start after having already won the series, taking 2 of 3 when they're looking for a sweep. They've luckily in the last two come away with the sweep, but they just play differently. You know, obviously the lineup is a little different, but the fact is that they don't have that same intensity, and it's not necessarily a problem right now. Yes, they won 14 of 16. In 16 games, they've allowed 4 or fewer runs. Thank you, BC, for sharing that with us.
Yeah.
You're
going to win most games when you do that.
Right. But right now, the thing that always comes to the front of my head is you don't win anything in May. So, let's hope they keep this going. Let's hope they're learning from this and they're building muscle and strength and intensity and tenacity and so forth. But I don't love the fact that in the third game of a series, they're just kind of like, nah, whatever. We'll squeak this one out in an hour and 55 minutes and get out of here. That's just not what you're looking for. The intensity and tenacity just kind of wasn't there today for the entire team. Of course, Freddie Freeman had a big game going 2 of 3 with 2 runs scored, and Teoscar Hernandez, the home run, 3 RBI, which gave them the victory.
That's the beauty of baseball, though, right? I mean, when you think about Major League Baseball, the beauty of this game, it's an individual game within a team game. So if a guy like Freddie Freeman spraying the ball all over the field, and Teoscar Hernandez drove in the first run, scoring Freddie, also hit the home run, 2-run shot, scoring Freddie ahead of him in the 6th. Other than that, Ryan Weathers pitched great for the Marlins today. So you see the potential from these young pitchers. But with the Dodgers, man, they beat you every which way. They beat you with hitting. They beat you with power. They beat you with speed and base running. They beat you with finesse on the base paths and moving runners from first to third. They beat you with their starting pitching. They beat you with their bullpen. I mean, look, you said the Dodgers didn't have that intensity today. Gavin Stone did. And if you're looking at his last 3 starts against Toronto, Atlanta, and now today against Miami, if he's going to keep pitching like that with Kershaw out, obviously you got Walker Buehler back now, and then you got Glasnow and Yamamoto at the top. if he keeps pitching like this, man, day in and day out, it's easy to say he's going to get the run support, but he hasn't needed much these last 3 outings.
Yeah, he's been very good for a young guy. As I said yesterday, the Dodgers have a handful of these young guys, some of which are hurt, that are on their way back. Dustin May, not super young, but on the younger side. Tony Gonsolin, a little bit younger. Emmett Sheehan's a young dude that pitched well for them last year that is injured and on his way back. So they've got a bunch of these guys that are all kind of vying for that fourth, potentially fifth starting position. And Gavin Stone's been very good. He's 3-1, 4 Ks today, going 7. I love that. If they can have enough momentum and success throughout the game to get into the 7th inning, that is, kudos to them, because damn well Dave Roberts and his staff are dying to pull them out of there in the 5th inning.
Yeah, they are. They want to use a lot of pitchers for sure.
Yeah, they're feeling in the 5th inning, they're like, can we get him out now? Can we pull him? Can we pull him?
But I will say this, Pete, a lot of starters have had similar results against the Marlins recently. I mean, it's you want a cure for a slumping pitcher, roll him out there against the Marlins, the way things have been going lately. And, it's not to take anything away from Gavin. He pitched fantastic baseball today. And, Teoscar had the timely offense, Freddie Freeman as well. So when you get that timely offense, they have a knack. And these are veteran guys who have had years of greatness. You know what I mean? So, just based on their past performance, they're going to come through, even if they're slumping like Mookie and Shohei. You could say they're in a mini slump right now. Mookie, especially, it's been how many games has it been for him? 5-6 games since he's been in the skids. Shohei just these last 2. Yeah.
He's had a few hits, some bloopers. Nothing's been dominant where he's, been ripping the ball, pulling the hands through the zone and all that. He's been a bit off. But his average continues to be well over 330 at 346 today with a 1-for-4 day. But, you look at the Marlins pitching staff, they did everything they needed to do, right?
Weathers is good.
Weathers going 6, 3 runs on 5 hits, Maldonado, 0s across the board, and Nardi gave up just 1 hit. So that's all you can ask for from the
Maldonado and Nardi have been good lately, man. The Marlins bullpen's been pretty good.
Yeah, as Craig has mentioned here, that the Marlins need some veteran help in this lineup just to kind of solidify things. To kind of, they've got a bunch of youngsters who clearly have talent and ability. They just need a little bit more leadership, it seems like. And I agree with that. And, the Dodger bullpen has been fantastic with Evan Phillips on the IL, Grove has been 0s across the board his last few outings. Hudson came in today as the closer with 1 K and shut him down real quick and easy. So that's a good feeling. That's the one thing I love almost more than anything. If the pitcher, this sort of stat line for the pitchers, the starter goes 6 or 7, the bullpen comes in and allows 0s. That's what you love to see, and that makes you feel good about the potential for the future for this team.
Yeah, and of course, the Marlins had Luis Ariz, who's in San Diego. You guys are about to see him coming up this next series, and you go to San Francisco after that. They call it a road trip. It's the California swing for the Dodgers. The Marlins come home to face the Phillies, so no rest for the weary. They get another one of baseball's top teams and another one of the top players coming in Bryce Harper. But when I look at the Marlins lineup, man, your leadoff guy, Ariz, is gone. So you move Chisholm up there. He's a 236 hitter. De La Cruz hit the home run today. He's starting to come around, right? He and Ariz were really starting to hit the ball. But you look at 3, 4, 5, and 6. You're talking 203, 201, 235, and 198. That's your 3 through 6 in your lineup, man. And I don't care what league you play in. I don't care if it's little league. I don't care if it's high school. I don't care if it's college, all the way up to the World Series, man. If your middle of your lineup is giving you that for production, you're not going to win a lot of games. And you mentioned they might need a veteran bat. They need any kind of bat. Soler's gone, obviously. They need any kind of bat in the middle of that lineup. They don't have a guy, Pete, who's hit 20 home runs. They don't have a 100 RBI guy. They just don't have it. And that's a huge hole for any major league team. And you start to ask questions, putting this team together. And we talked about it yesterday, man. If you're off at all, if any of your projections don't fit, if anybody gets hurt, you're in big trouble when you have a payroll like the Marlins do. And we're seeing that now. There's levels to it. But even with that said, Pete, and I want to leave you with this thought in this segment, let you take it from there. But I want to tell you this, man. This team doesn't quit. They don't give up. They're out there scrapping. They're out there scratching. You saw it today against the Dodgers. Weathers battled his butt off out there. The hitters are too. And it's not for a lack of effort. And I love Skip for that. I love these kids for that. And as long as that's there, as a fan, you have to respect it and you have to keep your hope.
Yeah, without a doubt. It's a good place to be with a bunch of youngsters for sure.
Yep. No doubt. And the Dodgers, obviously, in a completely different situation, but the youngsters being integrated in, so many prospects coming through, and they haven't lost sight and track of the fact that it's going to be those young guys who carry that torch after all the high-priced veterans come through and after all those deferred contracts are paid to Ohtani's and Yamamoto's grandchildren, who will be the only ones alive left to cash those checks when all the deferred payments come through. You're watching your Locked On Marlins postcast, Locked On Dodgers postcast, crossover style. Brand new things here on Locked On, not just the crossover. I'm talking about the postcast just this year. Pete was the pioneer. The rest of us are coming in and carrying that torch, continuing to move forward. When we come back after the break, we're going to talk more about this game today. Of course, the Dodgers 6-0 on the homestand. The Marlins fall to 10-28. 3-1 LA. Teoscar Hernandez with a big day, and Ryan Weathers taking the loss for the Marlins. This is your Locked On Marlins and Locked On Dodgers crossover with Grease and Pete. And we are pumped right now to talk to you. Where is that thing, Pete? This is where it always gets me every single time.
Takes a little while to get used to finding that transition.
It is not here. Where is it?
It's green. Go down some more. Down.
I have all the intros. I have the end tags. I have all the intros.
Go up then. Up. It's above that.
Nope, I don't have anything.
I wish I could play it. I don't have the ability over here.
Well, you'll have to take our word for it that we have.
There should be something happening in that transition. Choo.
Nope. All I have are the intros.
All right.
No transitions. Let me see.
All right.
Oh, well, we have to pretend that it's there. And whoosh, here we go into the break. And I have to tell you that it's Mother's Day, man. My mom's here. She's leaving the day before Mother's Day. I don't know what that says about our relationship. Like, I love you and I want to see you, but I'm going to leave right before you celebrate me. Shows you how selfless my mom is, just like other moms out there. Moms are a gift. So give your mom the best for this Mother's Day. You can get gifts as thoughtful as she is with DoorDash. It's easy. They show up at your front door. You don't even have to have contact with another human being. Select from hundreds of expertly crafted bouquets to the best of tech to self-care essentials and more, delivered right to mom's door. You know she deserves it. Come on. So bust out that credit card. You don't even have to. You have it stored in your computer. You know you do. It's never too late to show mom your love this Mother's Day with DoorDash. So what are you going to do? You're going to get all your Mother's Day gifts all in one place and get 50% off your next order, up to $15 when you spend $15 or more on your next flour, convenience, grocery, or retail order now with the code LOCKEDONMLB. That's LOCKEDONMLB. Order using DoorDash today. Terms apply. Terms always apply, don't they? Yes, they do. And we are moving on. Next one. This is Pete's favorite. He loves eBay Motors. Passion, drive, and patience. The formula for winning championships is also what keeps your ride or die alive. And I'm not talking about your significant other. Well, maybe for some of you. I'm talking about eBay Motors. For that whip, for that ride, for that pride and joy, they have everything you need to maintain your vehicle and level it up to peak performance. Superchargers, roof racks, exhaust kits, LED headlights, and more. Whether you're into speed, power, or style, eBay Motors has you covered. With over 122 million parts for your number one ride or die, you'll always find exactly what you're looking for. And with eBay Guaranteed Fit, your part is guaranteed to fit your ride every time or your money back. Because with eBay Motors, you're burning rubber, not cash. With all the parts you need at the prices you want, it's easy to make your car the MVP and bring home huge wins. Keep your ride or die alive at ebaymotors.com. Eligible items only. Exclusions apply. eBay Guaranteed Fit only available to U.S. customers. Pete, and that is everything we needed to tell you about eBay Motors.
There's something I want to tell you that is very interesting about this game that should make Marlins fans feel a little bit better about losing a tight one.
Marlins Dodgers postcast crossover real quick. Go ahead, Pete.
6 hits apiece, 1 home run apiece, total bases 10 for the Dodgers, 9 for the Miami Marlins, and runners left on base 4 and 2 for the Marlins there. So a close game, statistically speaking. It really was just that one big hit. One bad pitch sometimes can make or break you. And I think that's what ultimately did the Marlins in today, trying to salvage one in this series. I think they did a damn good job. They came really close because the Dodgers were just not there aside from 2 guys. Those 2 guys being Freddie Freeman and Teoscar Hernandez did all the work today. They did all the heavy lifting and salvaged, this sweep, if you will, because I don't know necessarily that they deserved it. As you mentioned, Gavin Stone was very good, but so was your guy. He did he did a decent job, and I don't want to call it an award-winning performance, but as they like to say, he did enough to win this game, and he did not, and that's unfortunate.
He did not. And you know what? It sometimes can come down to, as you know, Pete, a mistake here, a mistake there by the starting pitcher. And the mistake by Weathers was hitting to the seats by Teoscar Hernandez. And one of the biggest mistakes of the night that was made by your guy out there on the hill, by Gavin. And it was one of the Marlins hitters. I can't remember which one. I think it was after the De La Cruz home run. It was Bell. It was either Berger or Bell. I can't. One of those guys just got a perfect fastball right down the middle, and he hit it right on the button. But, sometimes it goes right at, and it was a fly out. So mistakes by pitchers, hitters capitalizing. The Dodgers kill you there, too. It isn't just the overall numbers. Numbers don't win anything in baseball, as we've seen over the years. Some of the most gaudy statistics are home for the playoffs. But what does win is finding ways to score, finding ways to win games when your big guns aren't hitting like Ohtani and Betts haven't been, finding ways to scratch and claw and do it. And sometimes the way to scratch and claw is to have a guy like Teoscar hit a 2-run homer. And he's been that guy this year, man. He's having a good year. I like watching him play. He's fun.
Yeah, another thing that was interesting about this, and you're like me when it comes to how high a standard we hold Shohei Ohtani to. He had an off night last night and an off day today, and we're like, what's wrong with Ohtani? He's falling apart. He's worthless. No, I mean, he's been fantastic. He just didn't, 2 walks and got on base twice yesterday, but no hits, and then an 0 for today as well. So it's bound to happen. It makes sense. But I think the bigger thing that or one of the issues today that I didn't love was in this series, the Dodgers scored all their runs early. And that's tough to keep that up. That puts a lot of pressure on the bullpen. Fortunately, the bullpen has been very good for the Dodgers and very effective. But they hadn't scored a run in this series after the 3rd inning until today. That was the Teoscar Hernandez home run. So you like it better when there's a picket fence of sorts across the scoreboard and not all of the runs front-loaded in the first couple of innings, and then they do nothing at the end of the game, and the bullpen has to, grit their teeth to try to get through it and hold on for the win. But the good news is, in those first few innings, the last couple of games, they put up big numbers. It was 11 and then 2. 11 and then 8 versus 2. And it worked out very well for them where the bullpen didn't have to do too much heavy lifting. But here's a question for you that I have about Andy Pages. I've mentioned it before. I think I mentioned it yesterday. But Andy Pages has this launch angle upright swing where, it's clear that he's trying to hit the ball out of the yard every time. And he's doing a very good job. He's being very effective as a rookie. He's had 1 game without any hits. He's batting .308 with a .526 slugging percentage. And I just look at that swing and I don't love it. I see the same. It's very consistent. Joe and Oral even talked about it today during the game, saying I can't remember who it was, some star asked him about his swing because it's very unique, right? It is
softball swing.
Yes, it is launch angle. It's all about hitting the ball out of the park. He does not swing level. He does not shorten up and try to make contact at any point in time. I don't like that at all. I want a guy to play to the count, at least in crucial situations. I understand he's young. I understand he's doing what works for him. But whoever this star was asked him about the swing, and his response was, hey, I believe in it. I like it. I'm committed to it. And it's reminiscent of Justin Turner. So he has a very, very strong conviction.
That's high praise.
Yeah, he has a strong conviction to this swing. He's trying to do what Justin Turner does. I look at them and I think their swings are 100% different. I don't see any similarity between his swing and Justin Turner's swing. But Justin Turner does have a swing that is long and loopy and big and does not, generally speaking, shorten up. We've seen it on occasion. It's rare. It's like the Loch Ness Monster when Justin Turner shortens up. I hope that Andy Pages finds a way, in crucial situations as the leverage becomes higher down the stretch of this season to put the ball in play. Hopefully he keeps this up and he continues to play. I don't know. It could fall apart. He could go for an over 30 streak, and then he ends up on the pine because he's not willing to change.
I have to call timeout. I have to call timeout. I have to call. And all my Marlins peeps,
What's wrong?
This is for all them, Pete. Boo-hoo. Pete, boo-hoo. You've won 14 out of 16, 6-0 on the homestand. The only thing you have to complain about is an angle of a kid's swing in the bottom of the lineup. I mean, you're sitting pretty, man, if that's the only thing you have to complain about.
Yeah, well, I mean, I always find something. Don't get me wrong.
It's baseball.
As Jeff, host with Vince of the Locked On Dodgers podcast, said, you and I are the 2 grumpiest guys on Locked On. I'm like, I don't know if he's been watching a lot because everyone seems to be a little grumpy about something. But the bottom line is, you're right. There's not a lot to complain about right now for the Dodgers. I just look at Andy Pajas and I go, damn, it's all rosy and good. And then I think back to I don't know if I mentioned this to you. I mentioned this to the listeners that one of my closest college buddies' nephew is James Outman. And James Outman could do no wrong last year. He was fantastic. And here we are this year struggling to get over the Mendoza line, right? He's at 160 or whatever. And I look at Pajas and I just see that same sort of thing.
It's like those Bellinger years, huge year, down year, huge year, down year. Yeah, up and down. That's
a better similarity swing-wise. Right. Of course, Bellinger had a great year last year, not so much this year. So
every other year, man. Every
other year. I look at Pajas and I go, there's not a lot of long-term success in that swing. That's the bottom line. Hey, I hope that you're the anomaly, but I just don't see it.
All right. You are watching your Locked On Marlins postcast on Locked On Sports Miami. You're also watching your Locked On Dodgers postcast on Locked On Sports Los Angeles. Of course, he's Pete Fox. I'm Jim Greasehaber. Call me Grease. The Dodgers 3-1 over the Marlins today, complete the 3-game sweep at Chavez Ravine. The Dodgers go on to take on the Padres this weekend on the road. Marlins go home to welcome in the Philadelphia Phillies. There's a third L on the jersey.
It's worse for you guys.
Phillies. Yeah, it does get worse. Or maybe, lateral move with these two teams. We'll compare the Dodgers to some of the other really good teams in baseball and talk about these upcoming series when we wrap up the show in just a minute. But first, Pete's got to tell you about our friends at Prize Picks.
Yes, Prize Picks, of course. Jeff, as you know, is America's #1 fantasy sports app with over 3 million members. They are the easiest and most exciting way to play DFS. It's just you against the numbers. I like this because you could just pick two guys and say, I think they're going to go over or under or above or below the stat projection, and you watch the winnings roll in. They also have the Demons and the Goblins. The Demons are a little bit harder to get because the numbers are a little bit tougher, and the Goblins are a little bit more friendly, and they're not quite as difficult, but you don't win quite as much. So you can decide how you want to approach it, anywhere from 2 to 6 players. You go above or below. If you go with the Demons, you get up to 100 times your money with as little as 4 correct picks. So you could bet 100 and win 1,000. That's huge. Quick deposits and easy withdrawals. My additional deposit was super painless and hassle-free, and they gave me 100% bonus on my deposit. So go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnMLB and use the code LockedOnMLB for your first deposit match up to $100. There's baseball. We got basketball. We got the hockey Stanley Cup playoffs going right now. There are a myriad of different choices that you can pair together, and it makes it a lot of fun. prizepicks.com/LockedOnMLB and use the code LockedOnMLB for your first deposit match up to $100. Pick more, pick less. It is that easy.
Are you the prize or the pick of the prize?
That reminds me when I was a kid and I went trick-or-treating and the guy goes, give me a trick and I'll give you a treat. And I was like, later, creepy dude, I'm out of here.
Oh, wow. Yeah. See, you grew up in LA? I'm just kidding.
Palm Springs, California.
Oh, man. I'll tell you what, Pete, this is fun. Locked On Marlins, Locked On Dodgers, and it's the crossover. I mean, as Locked On just continues to innovate, I'm happy to be here. I love the whole concept of the postcast. I mean, we got it easy. We just talk about the game that just happened. And in this case, it was one of the fastest games. We didn't mention this, or you did in the beginning very quickly, but one of the fastest games since the new rules were put into play with the pitch clock and everything.
6 minutes longer. The record was 1 hour and 49 minutes in the pitch clock era.
Yes.
Today, 1:55.
1:55. So I'm sitting here watching this game with you, and of course Murphy's Law. My technology wasn't exactly working as we're getting closer. So this guy is on by the end of the game, and I'm feeling that pressure to get on quicker. I just started. All the tech stuff kind of takes a while. He's got it down, and everything that's going wrong can go wrong here. So we were actually 5 minutes later than we should have been. But this game went by so fast. First pitch, and then I look up, it's the 4th inning. Then I look up, it's the 6th inning, and it's crazy how fast these games can go. There's something to it with the getaway days too, Pete. These guys just want to get out of there.
Without a doubt, especially the Marlins, and they're, I don't know where you said they're off to Philly, so they got a longer flight.
Home for Philly, yep.
Longer trip than the Dodgers do. I don't know if the Dodgers bus it to San Diego or they fly. They probably fly, but not a long journey for them. But they do have a little bit of a chip on their shoulder coming into this series against the Padres, because the Padres came into the Ravine and kind of pushed them around in that first series a few weeks back. So the Dodgers want to right that ship, if you will, and they couldn't be at a better spot going into this series. 100 runs or I think it was 108 or something. Oh, let's just put it this way. Over 100 runs for the Dodgers in their last 30 games versus just over 30 for their opponents. So they're putting up big offensive numbers and they're holding the opponent to low numbers.
And you have no Kershaw and Ohtani's not pitching. I just want to throw those things out there.
That's true. Yeah, it is something to look forward to next year when Ohtani gets the arm in shape, ready to pitch, because that will be, that will be phenomenal and something that, again, the last few years with the Angels have been remarkable. It was just one of those things where the Angels have not been very good. They've been struggling to be a 500 team, but seemingly every night or every other night, Shohei Ohtani was on SportsCenter with something miraculous that has not been done since Babe Ruth did it 100 years ago. And that's just something I think at this point, with all of the media and all of the, stuff that we're dealing with just coming in on a daily basis as far as stats, and whether it's Instagram or TikTok or Facebook or wherever you find your information, there's always something out there to say this is amazing, this is remarkable, this is unheard of, this has never been done before, or it's been a long time. It becomes kind of routine, right? Because Shohei Ohtani was doing it so regularly, and now he's continuing to lead things just offensively, leading the league in homers. I don't know where he is on average.
What's up with the Padres with you guys? I have to ask you that because, the Padres are, to me, I mean, they lose 5 in a row. Now they've won 6 of 8, 4 in a row to start. They're a streaky team, obviously. Bogarts was giving them nothing. They bring in Luis Ariz, which is a batting champion and an all-star to play middle infield, second base. And they have, obviously Tatis is the real deal. And you got Manny Machado there. I mean, you've got a really good team overall on paper, but something about them, they haven't really been able to put things together.
Yeah, the thing is, for whatever reason, I've never understood this. I grew up in Southern California, in Palm Springs, which is kind of halfway between LA and San Diego, right? So for whatever reason, my mom was a Dodger fan as a kid. She knew the general manager at that time, Al Campanis, who was summarily dismissed for being racial and so
I remember that. Yep.
So
late 80s.
Yeah. I grew up as a Dodger fan because of that connection. I was not a Padre fan, but I went to school in San Diego. But you know how it is when you're a kid and the team you follow them forever. For whatever reason, you stay with that team. And I just never became a Padre fan. So I spent time in both areas around both teams. And the bottom line is, and we never understand it here when we're north of San Diego, but the people in San Diego do not like LA. I don't know what it is. I don't know why. The people in LA are basically ambivalent to that, like, knowledge. It's not like Red Sox Yankees where they both hate each other. LA people are like, hey, San Diego's great. We love to visit down there. People are nice. Area's nice. It's beautiful. I don't understand the hate. But the fact is, the Padres hate the Dodgers. Padre fans hate Dodger fans.
Well, it's easy to figure out why they hate you. I mean, there's a lot of envy there, a lot of success over the years,
Sure.
Big city envy, Hollywood envy. I don't know, whatever. There's a lot there.
That's a big part of it for sure. But look, it's not like the Dodgers
Sunset's better than Gaslamp.
Not like the Dodgers have reeled off a bunch of World Series. They got a half a World Series at this point, I would say. And the Padres beat them a couple years ago, sent them packing. So, there's that rivalry aspect there. They came into it. They just, for whatever reason, the Padres kind of show up more for the Dodgers than vice versa. The Padres are like, yes, we need to beat this team. We need to prove something. And the Dodgers are like, yeah, just another team, right? It's just another game for them. And consequently, I don't think they put the same amount of importance on it that the Padres do when facing the Dodgers, especially in LA. And I feel like that's been going on for decades. It's not just a recent thing. The Dodgers can be a much better team and the Padres a much inferior team, and San Diego will show up against the Dodgers time and time again. So they always come to play against the Dodgers, and hopefully the Dodgers will do the same against them starting on Friday.
And hopefully the Phillies will go out in the design district, the arts district, all night, 6 a.m. They'll go to 11. You know what I mean? That's what hopefully they enjoy the nightlife a little bit against the Marlins. But you got, your guy's out. Trey Turner's out, man. He's killing it for the Phillies this year. He's on the 10-day, so he's not going to play in this series. They're shortstop, and so that's a big loss for them. The Phillies are a really good hitting team. They don't hit for a lot of average, and they drive a lot of runs in. They hit for power. They're going to live and die. It's funny when you see these National League teams living and dying with home runs because the eras have changed, man. The times have changed, and we are not in that era anymore when National League Baseball was scratch them out and let the pitching and defense win. Long gone, man. Baseball is different these days, like it or not, and it's still a lot of fun day in and day out. More runs scored, speeding up the games, quicker games. It's been great, but there's some good baseball coming our way this weekend. We're going to see the Phillies in Miami. You guys are going to play the Padres. And, those division games are extra. It's almost like a game and a third every time you play a division game because you want to win those games and then the league games to have those tiebreakers. But I don't think the Dodgers are going to need any tiebreakers, man. Maybe for home field, maybe against someone like the Braves or the Phillies. But it's going to be interesting to see how long the Dodgers can stay hot and just keep it going. Hit that cruise control once you get to the All-Star break and just go. And that's what it is. It's just a marathon throughout the season and staying healthy.
No doubt.
Healthy, right?
Yeah, it's funny looking at this Phillies lineup, as we're just kind of comparing top teams in the National League. They have one guy batting over 300, and that's Bohm, 346. Everyone else on this
Turner,
lineup,
but he's out.
Yeah, that's true. They have this Clemens guy, but he was a pinch hitter. I don't know how much he plays. He's batting 364.
No, Harper's at 254. Schwarber's at 211, man. Kyle Schwarber, 211.
Yeah, I remember back a few years ago, this will be my final thought on batting average because I wanted to mention this to you. I remember, probably 10 years ago when the Angels were winning the division every year, but then couldn't do anything in the postseason. They had an entire lineup for a few weeks batting over 300. And that was just like completely remarkable. And you look at what this Dodger team is doing and how well they're hitting the ball. They have 4 guys over 300, right? And that's like, wow, it's amazing. It's average is not something that we pay too much attention to these days. It's more about production. But I like average, because that means you're getting on base. And when you're getting on base, it leaves people available for the next guy to knock them in. And that's a good place to be. You want guys to get on base. And I feel like the Dodgers are doing that. They got 1, 2, 3 guys over 400 on base percentage. Teoscar's over 300. Muncie's at 360. Pages 320, Rojas 3. So they're getting on base, and that's a huge thing. And that's something that we should not overlook and not take for granted for sure, because it's very important.
No, and I love the way Suarez has been throwing this year for Philly. I mean, the Marlins are going to see him on Saturday. He's having a hell of a year. Last time out, not as much. And, of course, they have Zach Wheeler, too. He's been a little up and down. And then on Friday, you're going to see who we're going to see on Friday. Oh, Walker for the Phillies against Trevor Rogers. So the Marlins just continue to wheel those young arms out there. You got some guys with some really good stuff. You saw it from Weathers today, battling just one big mistake, and that was the 2-run homer to Hernandez, and Freddie Freeman got him a couple times. Hernandez had the single in the first. But you've seen something from Munoz, and you've seen something from Cabrera, not against the Dodgers, and maybe this lineup isn't a fair barometer, but you're just trying to see who has big league stuff, and you're trying to see who has big league makeup and mindset and who can go out there every 5 days, be tough, and give you what you need, which is 6 innings, 3 runs or less. Don't put your team in harm's way. Stop getting in jams. Don't walk guys. Don't hit batters. They've had a lot of that this year. So the Marlins just continuing to try to figure out who they have on this team and what they can contribute moving forward into the future. And baptism by fire. I mean, you go right from the Dodgers to the Phillies. That's a tough, it's a tough task, man. You're talking 2 of the best teams in baseball back to back there.
I don't envy that at all. So it'll be a good weekend. I'm happy to see the Dodgers on a nice little 7-game winning streak, heading in to face the Padres. There's Padres, as the infamous Ted Leitner used to say. I believe Ted has hung him up for his career finally, but he was a legend for sure. That's the play-by-play guy there, Jim. You're like, who the hell's Ted Leitner? But he would always call him my Padres. Padres.
Okay, I was thinking Matt Viscursion. You know what I mean? And
he's
then
the guy now. He's the guy. No,
he's the guy now.
He's the Angels guy now.
Angels guy now. He did Padres for a while.
He did for a while. Yeah. I can't believe he went from MLB Network to just being the Angels guy. So whatever.
Oh, yeah. As long as guys like us, you're around long enough. Sometimes you're just happy to still be working. So anything you want to throw in before we wrap it up, man? The Dodgers win 3-1. They sweep the Marlins. And I think most people expected the Dodgers to sweep the Marlins. But what else do you want to say to Dodger Nation before we wrap this up?
Things are rolling. Let's keep it going. Enjoy the off day tomorrow. And Jim, it's been a lot of fun. We'll talk next time we cross paths again. Hopefully, I don't know how it goes. I haven't looked at the schedule that far ahead, but the next time the Dodgers and Marlins cross paths, we'll do this at least one more time.
There might be, what's the over under on Marlins wins between now and then? 10? What do you think?
No.
You look at the 40. Calendar. But you know that you see promising signs. I'll leave you with this, Fish fans.
Yeah.
You see promising signs from players every day in this lineup. You see Bryan De La Cruz coming around even more. Before today, it was Gordon starting to get hot. You got Berger back in the lineup. The arms are starting to get a little more healthy-ish. And again, you're auditioning guys for the fire sale. But as we so eloquently like to point out, at least I think I eloquently point this out, you can't have a fire sale, Pete, unless people want to buy what you're selling. Not even a fire sale. So that's what I would leave you with, Marlins fans. 3-1, the final today. And again, just the Dodgers are a great team. They win with hitting. They win with pitching. They win with finesse. They win with power. They win without Ohtani pitching. They win without Ohtani hitting, or Mookie Betts hitting for that matter. But I hope you've enjoyed getting a glimpse at an elite team in the Dodgers. Always fun to watch. And now the Phillies coming into town. We will be live right after the game on Friday. Pete will too as well on Locked On Dodgers. It's Dodgers Padres. It is Marlins and Phillies in Miami. That's going to do it for us with this crossover edition of Locked On Marlins Postcast and Locked On Dodgers Postcast. I'm Jim Greasehaber. Call me Grease. That's Pete Fox. Before we let you go, I want to thank you for being here and remind you to always, Marlins fans, keep your game tight and your mind right, baby. We will talk to you on Friday.